lived in the waters of South America and the Amazon rainforest, and they could grow to a whopping 30 pounds. The mega piranha went extinct because the Andes mountain range rose up and separated the Amazon basin from the Piranha Basin, and there was no longer enough food to sustain its large size, so it shrank to the killer fish we know today. Number 9. When we think of marine reptiles today, we think of some species of crocodile, a few snakes, and also family-friendly sea turtles. But back in the Cretaceous period, marine reptiles were way more terrifying than even the biggest crocs. In particular, a species called mosasaurs. They could grow as big as 17 meters long and weighed as much as 20 tons. And they had no known predators, except for a few old fossils found with some shark bites on them. Though considering mosasaurs actually ate sharks, this could have been self-defense on the part of the shark. They were huge, swimming lizards capable of taking down giant sharks and plesiosaurs, and would still be around today if not for the mass extinction that killed them and the rest of the dinosaurs. Number 8. We still have bears in lots of countries, and while panda bears are usually harmless unless you really annoy them, grizzly bears are notorious for tearing down human campsites while black bears wander into towns and go through your trash. But none of that even compares to the short-faced bear, which lived in North America and died out only 11,000 years ago during a period of global cooling and is the largest bear in all of history. The biggest discovered short-faced bear weighed over 2,100 pounds, and when it stood on its hind legs, it was 10 feet tall. Even standing on all fours, this bear was the same height as your average male, so you can guess they were pretty frightening. And even scarier and more mysterious is that in a cave in Missouri, claw marks were found 15 feet up the cave wall, meaning that there could have been short-faced bears as tall as 12 feet. Number 7. There are more harmless snakes out there than deadly ones, but that doesn't stop tons of people from having phobias of them, including most famously Indiana Jones. I can't imagine what his reaction would be if he heard about our next creature, the Titanoboa, which is the biggest snake to ever exist and weighed the same as a school bus, and it grew around 50 feet long. They showed up to become the new apex predator after the extinction, that is, the dinosaurs getting wiped out, and their name is actually kind of a misnomer. They may be called Titanic boas in English, but they didn't hunt like boa constrictors we have today at all. They hunted more like modern crocodiles, leaping out of the water at its prey and biting on its windpipe until it died. Number 6. 62 million years ago, the continents of North America and South America weren't joined up by the landmass of Mexico like they are today. They were completely separate. Because of this, creatures evolved in a very different way in both areas. And that's why in South America, forest hassids were born, though you may know them better by the much easier to pronounce nickname, terror birds. They died 1.8 million years ago, but during their lifetime, they struck fear into the hearts of all other animals in the continent because they were perfect predators. They were 3 meters tall, had giant beaks and talons, could run up as fast as 30 miles an hour, and they were carnivorous, sharing many traits of their jaws with that of a great white shark. So it's sort of like a shark that can run at you as fast as a car. Number 5. If you thought the South American terror birds were bad, wait until you hear about the Argentavis magnificens, also known as the giant teratorn, which is the largest ever species of flying bird. They lived in Argentina only 6 million years ago, which is pretty recent compared to lots of other extinct monsters, and had a wingspan of up to 30 feet. For comparison, the largest flying bird still living is the wandering albatross, and that has a wingspan of around 10 feet or so. They also live for an incredibly long time, somewhere between 50 to 100 years, which is incidentally the same lifetime as lots of parrots or ostriches today. And lots of people believe the teratorn, which only died out 10,000 years ago, served as the basis for the Native American thunderbird creature. Number 4. Number 10 on our list was the mega piranha, which had the most powerful bite of any prehistoric sea creature in proportion to its size. But the creature with the second most powerful bite was called the megalodon, and you may have heard of it before. A megalodon was pretty much a great white shark, only a lot bigger. growing up to 60 feet long, which is actually longer than the Titanoboa we also looked at. They ate anything they could get their giant teeth around, including whales and other sharks. And actually, all we know about them comes from their teeth, because like great white sharks, they really don't have skeletons made of bone. They're made of cartilage, meaning they decay and don't turn into fossils. Scarily enough, there are people with theories that Megalodon might still be out there hiding deep in the Mariana Trench.
One of Megalodon's favourite foods were huge whales, like sperm whales, bowheads, and humpbacks. It ate these giants by first biting off their fins. That way, their prey had no ability to escape, and the Megalodon could eat it one bit at a time. Number 1. Megalodons were insanely big. We all know that, and it's no secret that they were estimated to be 50 to 70 feet, or about 15 to 20 meters long.
Number 3. If you thought the Megalodon was a scary shark, look away now, because the Helicoprion looked way freakier. It may not be as long as the Megalodon, sitting at only 35 feet long, but its fear factor comes from the fact its jaw is 360 degrees of sharp, serrated teeth. It literally has a buzzsaw in its mouth to grind up its prey. It's even literally nicknamed the Buzzsaw Killer, and while it's smaller than a Megalodon, it's still twice the size of the biggest great white shark ever recorded. Thankfully, it lived around 290 million years ago, so there's no danger of it running into it now. Although with less than 10% of the Earth's oceans explored, who knows what kind of monsters might be deep in hiding. One thing's for sure, this monster is enough to stop you from swimming for good. Number 2. Today, a visit to North Carolina might not sound too scary, but if you were to go there 80 million years ago, it would be a whole different story. It might still have a healthy population of the modern American alligator, but there was a way scarier lizard living there back then, which was the ancestor to the modern alligator. It was called the Deinosuchus, which is derived from the Greek meaning terrible crocodile, though it really is part of the alligator genus. On average, alligators grow to be about 10 feet long, and the biggest recorded alligator was 19 feet long. But the average Deinosuchus was an astounding 35 feet long, and they're suspected to have lived as long as 50 years and may have even hunted and killed large dinosaurs living both on land and in the water.
The Albertosaurus, even though they're the biggest predator on the land, they're backing off, they're backing down from the Deinosuchus. The animal we've come back for really is the top predator of this time.
Number 1. This wouldn't be a list of terrifying extinct animals without the Tyrannosaurus rex, which is probably the most famous and well-known dinosaur out there. They were 12 meters long and weighed 9,000 kilograms, and are often cited as being the most fearsome predator to ever walk the earth. Their name translates in English to tyrant lizard, showing how they ruled the world with their very tiny iron fists, surviving on a diet comprised solely of flesh and bone. The first fossil was discovered in Montana in 1905, and was described by the New York Times as the most formidable fighting animal of which there's any record whatsoever. And it's inspired the imaginations of people for decades, striking terror into the hearts of anyone who's ever seen Jurassic Park. But crazy enough, there are some people who may have an idea that the T-Rex is actually an ancestor of our modern chickens, based on the way they may have walked and the fact that recent fossils discovered in